black hole sun, won't you come? Black day. The burden in my head. I'm feeling upshine.
They were loud, legendary, and totally chaotic. Before Nirvana smashed guitars and Pearl Jam conquered MTV, these Seattle boys were growling out anthems for the broken, the bitter, and the beautifully messed up. They are none other than Soundgarden. They weren't just rock gods. They were tortured souls with a frontman, Chris Cornell, whose voice could melt steel and shatter hearts. But behind the haunting lyrics and heavy riffs, whew, the tea is boiling. We're talking backstage blow-ups, band breakups, whispered feuds, addictions, and lawsuits over millions in royalties. Drama darker than a black hole sun. From dive bar nobodies to grunge royalty, Soundgarden didn't just define a generation. They practically invented the scene and tore themselves apart in the process. So buckle up, because this is the messy, moody, and unfiltered truth behind the band that made beautiful chaos sound like a revolution. Let's spill the grunge gossip. Before Soundgarden was shaking arenas and making Grammy waves, they were just scrappy Seattle guys jamming in a cover band called The Shemps. Chris Cornell, believe it or not, was both singing and drumming, because apparently being a double threat was just his default.
Playing guitar and bass, and after Soundgarden was formed, so I could contribute music.
After The Shemps called it quits, Cornell teamed up with bassist Hiro Yamamoto and recruited guitar genius Kim Thayil. That trio laid the foundation for what would become a game-changing grunge powerhouse. By 1985, they realized Cornell needed to step away from the drums to unleash his full vocal magic, so Scott Sundquist joined as drummer. Once Chris was front and center, things started to fall into place. Their first official gig went down at a little Seattle joint called Top of the Court, and their artsy, moody band name, inspired by a bizarre sound sculpture, very on brand for the grunge scene. Their big local break came when they landed 3 tracks on the legendary Deep Six compilation in 1986, alongside future icons like Melvins and Green River. The real turning point came when Matt Cameron, already a local drumming legend, replaced Sundquist.
I started touring in '87 with Soundgarden, and I think just playing in bars, just rehearsing.
With him behind the kit, Soundgarden locked in their classic lineup. One night, college radio DJ Jonathan Poneman saw them live and was so blown away he helped launch Sub Pop Records just to get them out into the world. Their 1987 debut single, Hunted Down, paired with Nothing to Say, made industry heads turn. That kicked off a streak of influential early releases like Screaming Life and Fop. In 1988, Soundgarden dropped their full-length debut Ultra Mega OK on SST Records, earning them their first Grammy nomination and major indie clout. But then, they really stirred the pot by becoming the first grunge band to sign with a major label, A&M Records. When Louder Than Love dropped in 1989, fans were split. Some accused them of selling out. Others saw it as their long overdue glow-up. By 1990, with Ben Shepherd stepping in on bass, the iconic Soundgarden lineup was finally complete and poised to explode. With bangers like Jesus Christ Pose, Outshined, and Rusty Cage, they went from local legends to national rock stars. We're talking #1 on Billboard, 2 Grammy wins, and Black Hole Sun turned Chris Cornell into an icon. They followed it up with Down on the Upside in 1996, landing at #2 with hits like Pretty Noose and Blow Up the Outside World. The videos were haunting, the vocals were spine-tingling, and the money rolling in. Offstage, Soundgarden's personal lives were as tangled and unpredictable as their music. Let's start with frontman Chris Cornell. He was married twice. First to Susan Silver, the powerhouse who managed both Soundgarden and Alice in Chains. They tied the knot in 1990 and had a daughter, Lillian Jean, in 2000. But by 2004, divorce and drama. That same year, Chris moved on fast, marrying publicist Vicky Cornell. They had 2 kids, Tony and Christopher, and Chris even converted to Greek Orthodoxy for her. In his later years, he seemed peaceful. But as we know, peace doesn't always last in rock and roll. Guitar legend Kim Thayil, way more mysterious. The son of Indian immigrants, Kim kept his personal life very low-key. His mom was a music teacher, and he's got a philosophy degree, smart and shredding. He did hint at a long-term relationship that ended during the super unknown era. But since then, silent. Kim's always been more about the music than the drama. And then there's Matt Cameron, the one holding it all together. Married since 1997 to his wife April, Matt's been rock's most reliable beatkeeper. He's got 2 kids, Ray and Josie, and somehow juggles Pearl Jam and Soundgarden without missing a beat. Literally, in 2024, he was even crowned Best Rock Drummer. Because of course he was. Drama-free, steady, and talented. We love a king who just gets it done. But behind all the roaring guitars and Grammy wins,
and the best metal performance is Spoonman. Soundgarden.
Wow.
Soundgarden was simmering with tension, and it wasn't just artistic differences, it was full-blown drama.
When we were recording for an album, for an LP, and then everybody had different ideas as to what should eventually end up on it.
Recording their 1996 album, Down on the Upside, a creative war zone. Chris Cornell and Matt Cameron wanted to evolve the sound, go experimental. But Kim Thayil, he wanted that heavy. Meanwhile, bassist Ben Shepherd, let's just say his temper was legendary. Things got so heated, he stormed off stage during a show in Hawaii in a now infamous meltdown that left fans and bandmates shocked. By 1997, the pressure cooker exploded. Cornell felt the band had turned into a corporate machine.
Some of it was just the fat of a stupid industry that is now dead because of it.
Thayil believed their genre blending was hurting their mainstream appeal. The grunge gods couldn't agree, and just like that, Soundgarden was done. The whole thing imploded under the weight of their own success. But that wasn't the end of the darkness. Chris Cornell battled demons for most of his life.
My mind's alcohol, substance abuse was all kind of coming to a head right then, and I don't think I would have been capable of really making it through that.
His teenage depression and substance abuse never fully disappeared. He went to rehab in 2002, found sobriety for years, but heartbreakingly relapsed in 2016. In 2017, Chris was found unalived in his Detroit hotel room, ruled a self-unaliving.
We were just talking about Chris Cornell. We found out last night at the Comedy Store that he died, and then this morning found out that himself.
But the mystery didn't end there. His family pushed back.
He would never have ever left this world.
Chris Cornell was severely impaired, and with the medications that were in his system that night,
Saying anti-anxiety meds may have clouded his judgment.
I don't think that he could make any decisions because of the level of impairment.
Fans were left devastated and confused. Ben Shepherd also spiraled hard after the breakup.
I always did. I always missed those guys. I always missed playing with them and doing stuff and being around them. I can relate to them, you know.
Addiction nearly took him out completely. At one point, he had a near-fatal morphine overdose and even faced homelessness. Then in 2008, someone stole all his gear, and he walked away from music for a while. It was a rock-bottom few saw coming. And let's not forget the controversies that followed them like a shadow. Their 1991 song, Jesus Christ Pose, so scandalous, MTV pulled the video for being anti-Christian, and the band received death threats during their UK tour. Yup, grunge wasn't all mosh pits and moody lyrics. It came with receipts. Cornell's brooding 2009 cover of Billie Jean had fans split down the middle. Some called it genius. Others called it, well, a mess. And then there was the beef with Billy Corgan of Smashing Pumpkins, who threw shade at their 2010 reunion, calling it a cash grab. He later apologized after Cornell's tragic passing, but whew, awkward. Through the riffs, the rage, the rehab, and the loss, Soundgarden's story is equal parts genius and heartbreak. And while the music lives on, so does the mystery surrounding the band's most haunting chapters. Soundgarden's drama didn't stop at the stage. It hit the courtroom too. After Chris Cornell's split from his manager and first wife, Susan Silver, things got ugly with accusations of financial mismanagement, child support, disputes, and a legal fight over his prized guitars. But the real legal storm came after Chris's death, when his widow Vicky Cornell and the surviving band members went to war over unreleased recordings. Vicky claimed they were for his solo work. The band insisted they were meant for a new Soundgarden album. The feud exploded with royalty disputes, a lowball buyout offer for Chris's stake in the band, and even a fight over control of Soundgarden's social media accounts. Though a truce was announced in 2021 and a so-called settlement reached in 2023, drummer Matt Cameron later revealed the drama is far from over. Soundgarden's music rocked hard, but their legal battles? Even harder. Okay, plot twist. Soundgarden didn't just shred stages, they gave back big time. Chris and Vicky Cornell launched Chris and Vicky Cornell Foundation.
Proud that along with his legacy, his philanthropic work continues to grow and flourish.
To help homeless and abused kids, struggling families, with tour profits going straight to charity. Even after his death, Chris's legacy lived on through the emotional I Am the Highway tribute concert. Ben Shepherd, total rock star turned do-gooder, supporting the Cystic Fibrosis Trust, running marathons, climbing mountains, and even playing soccer for UNICEF. Iconic, and in a rare but powerful moment of reunion, the remaining members of Soundgarden, yes, Kim, Ben, and Matt, came together as New Dragons in December 2024.
Nude Dragons. It's an anagram for Soundgarden.
They lit up the stage at the Smooch benefit concert, raising serious funds for Seattle Children's Hospital.
It's very likely that Matt and Ben and I will play together. I think we know that the songs that we love.
Emotional, epic, and everything we needed. So while Soundgarden's legacy may be filled with angst, lawsuits, and explosive drama, there's also a lot of heart beating behind the distortion. Rock and roll with a cause. The surviving members of Soundgarden are still rocking. Kim Thayil plays in the supergroup Third Secret and tours with MC50. Matt Cameron juggles drumming duties with Pearl Jam, Third Secret, and his Wipers tribute band Is This Real? Plus, dropped an EP with Shayna Shepherd. Ben Shepherd is also back, releasing a solo EP in 2025.
Have an outlet. I've set it up so that I have an outlet to be able to put out records when I want, or songs.
And reuniting with the guys for Nudie Dragon shows. He co-owns a bar in Seattle now and lives quietly on Bainbridge Island. And big news. Soundgarden is being inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame in 2025. Awesome. They've also hinted at releasing those unreleased tracks with Chris's vocals.
As a machine or as a hot rod or something, or anything, a creative project, now that we've got it back.
But only if the legal mess clears. All right, let's talk cold hard cash, because grunge didn't just rake in guitar riffs, it raked in millions. When Chris Cornell tragically passed in 2017, his net worth was estimated around $40 million. As for the rest of the grunge gods, not broke, that's for sure. Touring, royalties, and licensing deals still bring in millions. Who says grunge doesn't pay? Kim Thayil is sitting pretty with a cool $30 million. Ben Shepherd clocks in around $20 million. But the real MVP of the money game? Matt Cameron, whose drumsticks must be dipped in gold, with a jaw-dropping $70 million net worth. That's what you get when you rock with both Soundgarden and Pearl Jam. Grunge might have been about angst, but let's be real. The bank accounts say success. Soundgarden's legacy is anything but silent. From those scrappy Seattle club days to ruling the rock world, these grunge gods gave us killer riffs, headline-making drama, and a roller coaster of personal highs and lows. Between Grammy wins, onstage meltdowns, juicy lawsuits, and that heartbreaking goodbye to Chris Cornell, their story reads like pure rock and roll legend. But don't hang up your flannel just yet. With unreleased tracks still locked away, surprise reunions under the Nuda Dragons name, and whispers of what could have been, Soundgarden is still very much part of the conversation, and their music echoes louder than ever.